Hello you lot, Miller Corner here and welcome back to the Kawasaki. That's right, after a considerable hiatus on the channel, my ER5 is back, baby. Woohoo! Now, it's actually back for a very good reason, mostly because people have been asking, where's the Kawasaki gone? In fact, I've had a fairly frequent string of comments from a few people over the last few weeks and months. Hey lad, how you doing? Where is the ER5? Have you sold it? Have you got rid of it? Have you crashed it? Have you sold the bike? Did you lose license? None of those things are the case, because you can very much tell by the fact, there it is, my ER5 is very much still with me and still a part of the garage. Oh, I've brought you out on a really nice afternoon. It is a little bit windy, as you might be able to hear, but the sun is shining. And quite apart from we've got someone bimbling along in what looks like a Nissan Note, famously driven exclusively by the elderly, all is well with the world. And I want to talk a little bit about where the Kawasaki's been, what's happening with it next, and why you haven't seen anything of it in 4 months or so. I think it's probably coming up for about 4 months now. And the simple fact of the matter is, there hasn't been anything to show, really. We haven't modified anything beyond what you last saw, which would have been putting the tail tidy and the rather nice pressed metal number plate on. We've had one minor mechanical failure, and it wasn't even that much of a failure. So we came out to it in the garage after a long ride on a hot day, and we could smell a bit of fuel, and it turned out that the hose going to the fuel tap, the 15, 16, 17-year-old clamp, had basically failed to clamp the hose down, and we had a tiny little bit of a fuel leak. But we just replaced the old hose, replaced the old clip, and fingers crossed, she's been as reliable as she ever was. The Kawasaki's been absolutely flawless, and I think I've probably put about 2,500 miles on this thing in total now since I've owned it, and every single one of them, apart from the ones where it sort of broke down a bit, have been a joy. I've loved using this thing, and just because you haven't seen it on the channel doesn't mean it hasn't been in use. It's, in fact, I would go so far as to say, bearing in mind how much time I've spent fixing the Alpha and the fact the Super Seicento hasn't really been anywhere since about March, it's probably been the most used member of the garage in recent times, because as much as I haven't been doing videos on it, I've been out enjoying it, hooning it, enjoying the way it flows between corners, enjoying the fact that tape down there is flapping around. Like, that does need fixing, I'm going to get to that. Riveling in the fact that this thing works, and this gorgeous summer sunny weather that we've been waiting for months is finally here. And that means it's bike weather, people. That means no more cowering in the cold, no more worrying about levels of grip or temperature or anything like that. Just jump on the bike, fire it up, usually without choke, I should add, because it's normally warm enough that choke isn't even required, and go and enjoy it, which is exactly what I've been doing, except when I'm stuck behind bloody Skoda Fabias. So what's happened with the project then? Why have we not done any more things to the Kawasaki? Basically, by the time we finished up the tail tidy episode, the weather was starting to improve. I was using it a lot more on fun hoons pretty much every weekend I could, particularly now, of course, live back at home with my family, and I've got access to it whenever I want. So I've been using it a lot more, and that puts into question the things I want to do to it, because I do still want to paint it, I do still want to paint the wheels, I do still want to add some custom vinyl and graphics and things. There are a few different light mods and things I want to do. There's still plenty to do to this thing, but the thing is, most of the things I want to do to it at this point are going to involve taking it off the road for an extended period, for a couple of days while I paint the wheels, or probably for a week or two all told for doing the respray on it. And obviously there is the risk that if lighting mods don't work first time, the bike's then left without lights, which makes it illegal. Basically, what I want to do to it from here on is going to be the sort of stuff that's going to leave it immobile for more than a day. And right now, after all this waiting, now that the good weather's here, I don't really want to be doing that. I'd much rather be enjoying the bike, because let's be honest, there's nothing wrong with it in its current state. Fingers crossed. For now, we're just going to enjoy it, which is why that's exactly what I'm doing. I've brought you and the ER5 to my favourite little stretch of road, exactly where we brought the Super Seicento when that was put back on the road, just for a bit of fun, just for a mad hoon. My favourite thing about this bike, as well as all the other things that I love about it, is possibly that art race exhaust, because it is awesome. It's got a nice aggressive rumble to it that turns into a proper growl once you get high up in the rev range. proper growl from this thing. And yes, I've been riding it since December of last year. Yes, I've put a couple of thousand miles on this thing, but it still never fails to slightly scare me with how fast it is. The torque from a parallel twin means that you've always got a bit of squirt when you want it. And whereas my dad's Bandit has got all the power from the mid-range up, you have to really let it scream past about 5.5 to really get it moving. The ER5, the punch is all down low because of a parallel twin. It's that characteristic that just makes it so torquey. What I've learned about the ER5 after spending a few months just gallivanting with it and just hooning it on all my favourite roads is how nimble it is for a bike of its size. I haven't ridden my dad's Bandit besides round a car park, and I will. I think one day we need to get a video riding my dad's Suzuki Bandit, but immediately it feels heavy. It's about 25 kilos heavier than this thing, which sounds trivial to someone who's thinking about car curb weights, but in the bike world, that's getting on for a fifth of the weight of the thing, and that is significant increase. The ER5 honestly doesn't feel that much harder to move around than my old Yamaha YBR did. Me personally, as someone who loves small, nippy cars, I quite like bikes that don't have much to them and they're not having anything holding them back from a bit of a blat. Light curb weight and a torquey engine. Oh, it's so good. And there's always torque there when you need it. It runs out of puff a little bit up high, but down low, it's always there. There's always power to spare. Straightening up now. Let's give her a bit. Oh, yes! Do I honestly want to be working on respraying this thing now? Not at the moment. I want to be doing this, baby. Woo! The more of a twist of the throttle you get, the more crackles and bangs you get on the overrun. And I don't know if you're going to be able to hear them on the microphone because it's stuffed in my helmet, so you might well not be able to hear it, but I can, and it's so good. Everyone's saying to me, oh, when are you going to get your full unlimited bike license and go and get yourself an R6 or a CBR 600 or something like that? At no point while riding this thing for fun have I wanted any more. At no point have I felt like it doesn't handle well enough, it doesn't go well enough, it doesn't sound good enough, it doesn't stop well enough. At no point have I felt like this bike's not delivering me what I want. Which does bring you to the rather logical conclusion of, why would you ever get rid of this bike? If a bike does everything you want it to do, why change it? Yes, you can experience new things, and be in no doubt this isn't going to be the last bike I ever buy, for crying out loud. I've got a whole lifetime of buying crazy sports bikes and probably the odd adventure bike and maybe even some really crazy Street Fighter type stuff ahead of me. But why would I ever get rid of this? My dad and I didn't put our bikes away over the winter. I'd waited so long to get this on the road after having the carbs rebuilt and everything, all that crap I had to deal with when I first bought it, that I was no way was I going to tuck it up for 3 months and not use it. So no matter what the weather was like and what low temperatures we'd have to go through, if it wasn't actually raining, Dad and I were out all the way through the winter. We were riding these things, putting miles on them and still having fun. If you want to be a fair weather biker and tuck the bike away once it gets to about October and let it nestle under a nice little cover until about March, fair enough, that's your thing. But trust me, you're missing out. All those months we spent going through all the cold and the wet and the wind in February just because we love biking so much, all of it was for these months now, the summer months, when biking is at its most enjoyable. There will be more videos on the Kawasaki, the build will continue, but for now I'm just going to go and enjoy it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Catch you soon and have a good one.